instead of, being like how I am with some of the other Stay Night episodes and saying this is a snooze fest, I won't do that. Because I don't think this episode was necessarily a snooze fest, neither was it bad. It was just... That episode is rendered slow-paced because it's a visual novel that's, like, if I'm correct, over 80 hours plus. I'm not sure if that's true or not. That's what I've heard, though. And the other reason why this episode just felt so downright boring, in a sense, is because the main characters are, like, nothing special. And I think that's where my lack of enjoyment for this episode, or just anything for this episode past, like, the last 5 minutes really meant like it felt anything. Here's what I mean. Most of the episode was basically set for characterization. That was pretty obvious, and I'm not mistaking as, like, that was really this episode's entire purpose. And it was also just, let Shiro know in reality that his ideals can't be accomplished, and they, did that as they were supposed to. They did the ideals thing perfectly. But the characterization was... here's the way I see it. Rin had already been kind of characterized. She's a tsundere. She's warming up to Shiro, as tsunderes do. They start off not liking the main protagonist, but warming up to him. And that's all I've seen her as. She's hot, but past that, I just see her as a tsundere and nothing more, nothing less. I've heard she's not a main character. I've heard that, like, she's really not the most interesting character in the entire series, and that's completely fine. But there's a lot of screen time focused on her now. And when you have somebody, especially like her and Shiro, that are running the main roles right now, that's not a good duo. You have two characters that are immensely generic and dull, running the two protagonist slots, and neither of them are really connecting to the audience on any level. In terms of Shiro, the way I see Shiro is just... I think most of you guys know I don't like Shiro, but just looking at this from an objective standpoint, here's my problem with Shiro. He's really dense, and other than him just being dull and dense, he's really generic. He's like every other shonen protagonist that there's ever been, and I think that's where the problem with this episode in terms of characterization and the rest of the series resides. Shiro is not an interesting character, but he's the main character. It's kind of like Mahoka, and the reason why this series is having trouble with Shiro is the same reason as Mahoka. They're cutting out the monologues, which are very important to the main character's development, and to his characterization. And it's just really, really aggravating to have to watch episodes like these, not because they're slow-paced, but because they're slow-paced and the cast is not interesting. And that's where my problem with this episode really came in. We also have the problem, like I said before, that I say like almost every week, to the point that I just kind of want to stop talking about it, which I probably will. It's the obvious foreshadowing. That's not even foreshadowing anymore. It's not fun when you're kind of just like telling us what something is, It's really unenjoyable in a sense, because I feel like the foreshadowing is what's supposed to make this series kind of like unique in the exposition department. But when you're just kind of telling us who is, or what is something supposed to do, or what something is supposed to do, it removes that sense of foreshadowing. It's just kind of telling you what something is, and I don't find that interesting, neither entertaining or how foreshadowing should be done. I noticed that they did shorten Rin's skirt. Bravo, you photable. But yeah, overall, don't get me wrong, I don't think this episode was bad. It was mediocre. That's how I feel. It wasn't terrible. It hasn't been like these past couple of episodes of Stay Night. It was legitimately just kind of there and mediocre, and it can't stand out, not because the pacing is slow, which isn't really the issue. It's because none of the characters that they're trying to characterize are interesting to any degree. And it's not like they haven't been done before, and I think that's where the problem in Stay Night comes. Anyways, thank you guys for watching. If you guys did enjoy... my donkey! If you guys did enjoy, please... Oh my god, did I fuck up again? Leave a like and a comment, fuck the outro, and I'll see you guys later. Deuces!